Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Heartful Canvas, and specifically a Tarot Tuesday episode. If you've never done this with us before, tarot is. I don't approach tarot in like a woo-woo witchy kind of way, at least from my perspective. I really think of it more like a journaling prompt, a reflection prompt, something that helps you to see maybe a little different perspective on your life. Helps you just kind of think about things from a different light, maybe something that feels a little less assertive than a journaling prompt where it's like, hey, think about this thing, where this is like, hey, what comes up when you look at this picture? And I feel like maybe it's a little gentler in my opinion. I also am not great at like actually following through on reflection and journaling prompts. And this is something that just feels easier, maybe because it feels a little more creative, a little bit more artsy, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so what I do is I pull a card. I talk about kind of what I'm seeing in it, what kind of resonates with me in terms of what's happening in my life, what's happening in the world. And then we look at the book and what it has to say. And then I really want you to think about it while we're talking and afterwards too. So by the way, I'm Jessica, if we never met before, and the deck that I use is the Light Seers Tarot deck by Chris Ian. I think the images are the artwork is really pretty. And let's go ahead and pull a card. This is our last card for the month of July, I do believe. I record these in advance. So I'm a couple weeks ahead, but I'm pretty sure this episode is for the last week of July. Okay. Ooh. This one is the Magician. So we have like this kind of soft yellow-orange background with like this kind of bright light behind the person. This person is sitting with their feet together, their knees down on the ground, kind of like a yoga pose, but sitting up. They have like a hoodie, except for it doesn't have sleeves. So they have the hood on over their head. They have a little bit of hair just falling out of the hood. They have an infinity sign up on the top of the hood. They have a tattoo on one arm. And I don't actually know. I don't know like the symbolism of that. Maybe you can see it if you're watching the video. And then they have like one hand is touching the ground, and the ground has like these like green kind of circles on it. And then one hand is like up, and it looks like the energy from the ground is coming through one hand and out the other, and it's like swirling around, and then it's creating this like swirl of color on the ground in front of them too, which is down at a slightly lower elevation. So it's kind of looks like it's like taking energy from the earth and giving it to the water, and there's all these bright colors, the light, and all this stuff. This is an interesting card. Last week was an interesting card. If it was your first time joining for Tarot Tuesday, this is also, I feel like, an interesting card if you're joining for Tarot Tuesday, because it does feel a little bit more woo, a little bit more, what's going on here? But anyway, I feel like it's, I don't know, to me, first of all, rather than it being like a magic trick, it feels more like taking the resources that we already have on this earth and utilizing them to create something good or powerful, that kind of thing. So it's like taking the earth, the energy from the earth. We could even think of it like, taking our love or our light or positivity or something that's already around us or in us, and kind of like reflecting or sharing that into another space. So this specifically looks to me like it's maybe the water or something, but like transferring that to create something beautiful. I mean, we could even, like, that's what art is, right? Is taking the materials that we have and creating something beautiful and amazing out of it. And I guess you could think of it like magic, like it's magical that this pen and this paper turned into this like really pretty drawing, or that the paint and paper turned into like this really cool project sculpture, that like the clay turned into this animal, obviously not a real animal, but that kind of thing. um, to me it's kind of, I think some of us, myself included, I kind of have a weird relationship with the idea of magic. Maybe we've been taught that it's a bad thing, that kind of thing. But the idea that's kind of appealing to me right now is like this idea that we have magic inside of us. Like we have ideas, we have art, we have compassion, we have empathy, we have all these wonderful, beautiful things that like we can't necessarily totally explain, or at least I can't. um, and they add beauty and awe and inspiration and all of that into the world. Um, so it's like this idea that like I am magical, not in like a weird witchy kind of sense, but like I mean it's magical that I'm a human. It's magical that I have ideas, that I can write something, that I can draw something, that I can um teach my little human things. And recognizing those little things as like kind of magical, kind of um just awe-inspiring. Yeah. And to be kind of just to recognize the beauty and the awe and the uniqueness of those things that maybe feel like very kind of ordinary, everyday kind of stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, we all do them as humans, but if we look at other animal species, they don't do them. Or if you just think about like we're a bunch of humans on a big rock, that's kind of cool. Um, and I think like for a lot of us, I think reframing in that way can feel uncomfortable, but I think it's also a way that helps us to find more gratitude, see more beauty in the world around us, and that's something that I really, really love. Um, uh, Rather than being pessimistic and I don't know, being very kind of closed-minded about things. Um, what else do we have here? It's kind of this idea of like the magic, the light, the because if you look at the card itself, it like there's like light coming out of the hand that's like kind of projecting onto the water. Um, that light that comes from us, it's not necessarily something that we create. It's like it's channeled through us. So it's like maybe you believe in a higher power or like a god or something like that. Um, it's like it comes from that, or maybe it comes from Mother Nature, or it comes from whatever you choose to believe in. Um, it's like it's not necessarily something that we have to create from scratch. It's not something that we have to like conjure up. Um, but it's just like we are the medium through which this can be transferred. So if we're thinking about love, we're thinking about kindness, like it's not something that we can just create. We can't just like use our hands and make it. We can't just like feed ourselves some food and then suddenly there's love kind of thing. But that's something that like we are a carrier or a medium for those things, and we have the privilege of those to like transfer through us and go to somebody else kind of thing. So I imagine I can probably keep finding more symbolism, but let's go ahead and dive into the book here and see what it has to say. So the magician says it's speaking of skill, natural talents, powers of manifestation, creativity, and resourcefulness. So I went down this whole tangent thinking about like creativity and I guess kind of natural talents. But maybe you want to think about different skills. I mean, I guess we could even say there are some skills that like we are a little bit more innate. But I guess even like being able to learn a new skill, that's kind of magical, right? Being able to change and adjust like our brain and the way that we understand things, and being able to coordinate things with our hands. Okay. The magician brings forth a powerful message of creation and potential. You are magic. You have everything you need to succeed. Badass manifesting energy from the cosmos. All the skills you require, they're at your fingertips. Beautiful creator, go create. Activate the magic in your veins by focusing your energy, willpower, desire, and actions. When you consciously step into your personal power and decide to shape the material world in this way, every breath in and every breath out is an opportunity to carve new meanings and new perspectives into reality. If you are unsure of your ability to create the life you desire, trust in the latent potential that resides within you. Feeling less than inspired at this time reminds you that it's time to find your muse. Find your spark, find your why. With everything you need sitting in front of you like a giant universe cauldron, what is it that you desire to bring to life? And what can you do today that will bring it one step closer to reality? I love that. I think that's really pretty. Um, and the affirmation is I can manifest the life I desire through energy and action. So kind of the magic is like creating the life that we want, right? Like that's what the Heartful Canvas brand is all about, is creating this life where we're present, we're living fully, we're living without regrets, we are taking care of ourselves and our people in our lives, and we are filling our cup and we are sharing that with other people. And that's all kind of magic, huh? It's magic that we can do those things. Yeah, it's this reminder, you are magic. And everything's already at your fingertips, so go create those things. Something that I really thought was interesting was this idea of focusing your energy, willpower, desire, and actions, um, and then carving new meanings. Like it was like this very intentional kind of, you have a direction that you're sending this energy, this whatever it is that you're working on. Um, it's not just like throwing everything out in the world. It's not just like, I don't know. The picture I have is like, I keep coming back to love and kindness and light and even art, but it's not just like tossing it out there and like, hopefully somebody catches it. But it's being intentional about that. It's doing things that are filled with love. It's doing those kind of actions. It's sharing your art with the world. It's not, and that doesn't mean that it has to be like premeditated. It's not like you have to have like, know exactly what you're going to create when you create your art, but more so that it's like it's being channeled in a positive, meaningful, intentional kind of way, so that it actually reaches and helps other people, or so that actually, like, I guess also like if you're thinking about living vibrantly, if you're thinking about trying to change your life so that you know you end up where you want to end up, it's thinking about those things that you intentionally want to change so that you end up in that destination, rather than just like, I don't know, I'm going to try all this random stuff, and it has nothing to do with it. It's not going to get you there. Yeah. And then if you're not feeling inspired, finding your spark, finding your why, um, and then those questions. What is it that you desire to bring to life? I think that also can be like that could be a creativity kind of thing, but that also could be like in terms of like, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of things do you want to put out into the world? What are those kind of like those characteristics or those things that you want to be known for, that you want to share with other people? And what can you do today to bring it one step closer to reality? So, not just dreaming and thinking about all these cool mental things you want to do and be and become, but then also kind of bringing it back to reality in terms of, how can I do that? How can I do that? How can I be that person? How can I, do that for other people? What's the one way that I can start to implement that today so that it actually becomes reality? Anyway, I feel like that's a really interesting. I feel like we've gone a long ways from just looking at this card. So if you would like to continue to look at the card, see if anything else speaks to you, go ahead and you can pause this or whatever. if there's something that came up from what I said, from the book, from just looking at the card that you'd like to journal on a little bit more, go ahead and pull out your notes app, pull out a pen and paper. Just think about what are the things that are magic already in me or around me? What are the things that maybe what's the magic that I've been suppressing because I haven't been believing in it, because I've been scared, because um, whatever the reason is. And then how can I kind of bring that magic to life? How can I um, really like fulfill those things or um, share those things with the world? All right. Thank you so much for joining me for another Tarot Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye bye.